Do it live on a Tuesday edition. Merely Bow and a freshly slicked up Z.
Oh yeah, I told you.
I don't even know. I know you warned me, but even walking in here, I had forgotten. I didn't have anything going on this weekend, but I just don't. Oh, I was not prepared.
What do you think?
I love it. You have a fantastic punim. I loved you. I loved you bearded though too.
Yeah, my kids, I don't think will be happy. Kayla wanted to just change it up for a little bit.
A little bit of a mix up.
So I just said I looked younger.
I think it's good to do that.
I was like, that's good.
With bodily hair, mix it up from time to time. Facial hair
If
certainly
it's working.
applies.
It's working.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
yeah.
I don't believe that. I don't
Just leave it?
that same theory. Yeah.
Just leave it.
Yeah, just leave
It's
it.
nice.
I would have been fine leaving it. It does feels good. I feel fast.
Feel like, yeah, I could see like if swimmer Nate came back into
Yeah,
the mix.
I feel fast. Yeah, I'd be fast in the
a lot
pool.
of drag on the beard.
Right, no doubt.
Yeah,
So good.
You look great. Look
Thanks,
great.
man. Had a great weekend.
How about that weekend from a weather standpoint? Wasn't that amazing? Yesterday was unbelievable.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had a nice walk outside yesterday. It was great. It was kind of like the cap to our anniversary week. Arden,
Love's stronger than ever.
Love is stronger than ever. Arden debuted in Footloose on Friday. Saw her Friday, Saturday, and that was great. They did a great job with that. So shout out to the Hocken Players Society for crushing
Nice.
that.
Same story as the movie.
Yeah, basically.
Same optics.
Yeah.
Who got to be the big bad? Who got to be the preacher?
The preacher was this kid who he was incredible.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of terrifying on the stage. He had this like affect where his neck would kind of stick out, and he had this scowl, and he looked really
That's
just
great.
menacing, and he was very good. And then after the show, he came out and he was kind of being normal, and I was like, what? And he seemed like this nice young man.
It's called acting.
Acting, brilliant. But he was great. I mean, to have that kind of, it was almost like a physical transformation that he did. And
Yeah.
it wasn't from makeup. It was just the way that he kind of carried his body.
Wow,
and
that's
and
next
spoke,
level.
which was I was very impressed by. And then on Sunday, I had a moment that I've been dreading for 14 years
Oh no.
and about 10 months.
Uh-huh.
I hosted Arden's boyfriend
Oh boy.
for dinner.
Okay.
I made a bolognese that was,
Delicious.
dare I say,
Did he
delectable.
appreciate it at a level
Oh,
that you were
Yes,
hoping?
and he's Italian, and
Oh, okay.
His grandmother makes the sauce
Okay.
in the house and in the family, and he said that he put me in the same rare.
Oh, wow.
which was
So
very
that's a win.
complimentary.
That's a
Huge
win.
Honest to goodness, couldn't have been nicer.
Sure. Fantastic.
Plays sports, smart, comes from a good family. Couldn't have been more respectful, polite, great handshake. I love
Oh,
it.
that's always big.
I'm in.
It's nice.
I'm in.
It's easy. 14, long way
Easy,
to go.
and his name is I won't say his name, but his first name starts with an E, and I told Arden I was going to call him Easy E from now
I
on.
like it, of course.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
liked it.
She was
So
for that?
Should have had me come over to recreate the Bad Boys.
Mike
scene.
Lowry. Yeah.
Lowry.
Mike Lowry.
What's
so
your name?
That's what I always thought. That's what I always thought it was going to be like. And
I think just as I don't want to dampen any of the enthusiasm
Sure.
for this wonderful moment.
Yeah.
But I do think that if this happens, it's a different tone maybe at 16 or 17 than it is at 14.
of course, it's beautiful. It's
Because
innocent,
it's
pure,
innocent.
It's cute.
Yeah,
great.
it's fantastic.
It's great.
So, but
I do
there
think
will
though,
come
if,
a
like-
time where you're like,
Yeah, of course.
"What's your intent, son?"
Well, right. That's what I said.
So
I
that-
said, when do I get to have that talk?
Yeah, that'll be the
Yeah.
that'll be the.
But
one.
this went for an opening salvo is Grazik, and I hope that if he's around for a while, I feel pretty good about that. So
That's nice. It's a win.
good job, Artie and Easy.
I like it.
Yeah,
and then
how's your weekend?
it's very solid.
A lot of hoops.
A lot of hoops. Did a lot of hoops. Did some
lot of
lacrosse. Did not necessarily. The third graders are off. Fifth graders played, but we had the basketball and we had the lacrosse, and then yesterday we had, I don't know, is that the best February day ever in Northeast Ohio? It's like 50 and sunny. I mean, we played hoops outdoors.
I mean, the day that was 70, the wind is what made it.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
There was no
the
wind.
was a little
It was
untenable.
sunny. It was 50. It was in the
Yeah, it
like
was
low
great.
50s. I mean, I don't know that I've had a better one in February. It felt like April
It was
to
great.
me.
Yeah, I'm with
and,
you.
and so like to have that all stack up to where the boys were off and I was off in the afternoon. So that was that was helpful.
It was a real treat.
It was. We do have one development leading us to believe that spring is right around the corner, and that is that this morning, as I was taking Buddy Garrity on his walk, a very stiff and strong skunk odor was permeating the air.
Oh, baby.
So
good.
they're in the mix.
that's not
and I
good.
would just tell you that, and I know you guys know this because you have the pups. This is our first spring with Buddy Garrity, and it was an entire different walk experience with the smell of that in the air. I mean, my head's on a swivel.
Yep.
Where's it coming from?
Yep.
And then I started thinking of Buddy almost like as a child, like, all right, now I got to extract him from any circumstance before it goes too far because he's going to be curious. He doesn't know any better. They're blind, right? Isn't that their operation? They're blind, so they're just ambling around smelling.
The skunks?
Yeah. So I'm like, this is just not ideal. And then it led me to a Google search that the best type of defense against them is predator urine, and they view dog urine as predator. But then I'm thinking to myself, every house in our neighborhood has a dog. There should be that predator everywhere, and I think they're undeterred.
They are undeterred.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you now.
We had them living under our deck, I told you. We had to have a
remember
guy come out, and he came out in
right.
like a full-on
Doc Brown
hazmat suit.
And you
Yeah.
can't like just
Doc
kill
Brown.
them.
No, you
Because of
can't, because
like
then it
the
goes.
pocket that they have, or the whatever they wherever
to
the
trap
smell
'em.
comes from. It's
It
10
releases
times worse
on
if you
that.
kill the thing.
So you have to. The idea is you have to trap and then relocate, I guess, is the way to do it.
Correct.
Yeah. So
It's a tough scene, brother. is what it
it's
is.
not anywhere on my premises, but it was in the walk that it was quite strong.
And if it's in the walk, it's in the
walk.
neighborhood.
Oh, it's in the neighborhood
it's
for sure.
only a matter of time before
There's
it's
no
coming through
question,
your
and it's going to get one of them. There's too many dogs. I mean, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, in an 11-house development, there's 6 dogs.
Yeah.
So it's coming.
Oh, there's
Someone's
going
to
to
get got.
So there's going to be an encounter. I was on a bye week, and I was doing a show for DirecTV in New York, and I was in the airport coming home. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember I was in Newark Airport, and I called up the lovely Miss Kay, and she was beside herself.
Sure.
Asa had been skunked, and it was a debacle.
Yeah, there's no quick fix there, Coach.
There's nothing
The
worse. That
garage
happened
smelled
twice
for
last year,
months.
my
You
dog.
got 2 of them, didn't you? That's
Yep.
right.
The garage smelled for months.
Yeah, you're not
no.
good.
My guy, the animal warden, D'Souza, tell Bo skunks are not blind.
Oh.
They are nocturnal. They will not stalk and attack the dog on a walk.
Yeah.
It's only if they feel like they are attacked.
Well, does he have any sort of tips? I'm going to need some tips on what to do. All right,
The
so
great
he
Matt
won't
D'Souza.
stalk. Won't stalk. That's important for me
They
to
will
know.
not stalk and attack the dog on
I'm
a
writing
walk.
that down. Okay, so that's good. But for some reason I thought they were blind, so they're just nocturnal. But then they hibernate too, right? So I think that's why they're coming out now, because they think it's spring.
Yeah, that's right.
They're out.
They're out
Out
and
the
about.
mix.
It's not.
They're out there, and they're loving it, Jerry.
Loving every minute of it, Jerry. We've got some news, actual news.
Boy, do
here.
Quite a bit.
Our great friend, special teams coordinator Mike Prefer, has been relieved of his duties. Kevin Stefanski with this statement this morning. I appreciate everything Preef has done for this team in his 3 seasons as my special teams coordinator, but I have decided to move in another direction in the best interest of our organization. I know the city will forever be grateful for the job he did as acting head coach in our AFC wildcard win and for all his contributions while leading the Browns special teams units for the past 4 seasons. We wish Preef the best with his next opportunity. He is near and dear to our heart.
Yes.
We love him. He was in here a lot. He's a naval man, which we bonded over. And we would have him on all the time for Army-Navy week and any time in between. He is a good dude. And
yes.
And it sucks. I mean, it really sucks. I get it. I understand it. The special teams this year were not great. Cade York especially, probably not what they were hoping for out of him in year one. But this is a tough one, man. It was tough to read that this morning.
Yeah, it's sad, and the reason that it's sad is because we liked him, and this becomes very personal, as you know, and it's a tough thing to deal with. And what's the really hard part about it for me is that it was kind of like there were reports that came out that he was safe, that, he had met with Stefanski and he was going to be back. Like, it's February, 21st?
Yeah.
This is a tough time for him as well. And it feels like, if you're reading between the tea leaves, that the Colts have a new head coach.
Yeah.
Bubba Ventrone, who played for the Browns. The Browns have requested permission, and everybody out of Indianapolis, as Stephen Holder has kind of basically been reporting that
he'll join us later, right?
And he will join us at 2:00. Yeah, that basically it's a done deal. He's coming here. So it could be a situation where they said, this is a guy that we really want. And so they made the change. But tough, man. Honest to goodness, tough. Like, really, 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 really tough is what I would say.
Yeah, I thought what he did with Scottish Hammer in year one was pretty remarkable. Some of this stuff. Yeah, he's real good.
He's done a great job. What has, unfortunately, is the case with coaches. We had one of the 3 punt returns in the league this year, even after losing our returner. Cade York wasn't as consistent. We don't recover the onside kick against the Jets. We gave up a long return that had a big thing in the Ravens game. But our special teams unit on the whole was quite good.
Yeah.
And so you're sad for him. You're frustrated for him. And it's funny, but this just goes when you talk about this business, how it truly is just a few plays here or there change the fortunes of all the people coaching. When people say, why do these games matter so much? Here's a perfect example why. Our defense was top, I think, 10 since week 7 on. Our defense coordinator got fired. Now he got a job right away, but that's how slim the margin for error is, and that's how much you need to win. That's what it's about. You've got to win. And unfortunately, they did not.
No, and, I think it probably – you always have – you wonder in the back of your head, like, you invest so much in Cade York that needed to be really great. I mean, you're coming off of a year when Evan McPherson comes in and hits the kicks that he hit for Cincinnati and was a game changer in a positive sense, and York didn't have that type of year. And so I'm sure it's like, look, we just invested in that. We got to get this going. Like that everything else, to your point, fine, but like the Cade York part of it needed to be sorted out. Now it stabilized, but was never the weapon. I don't think that you thought he would be on the draft. So that's something that I'm sure was central to this.
Yeah, if they think that they can get somebody who's better with kickers. Now I don't know that as I think about how Indianapolis kickers have performed, because remember, didn't they have Rodrigo Blankenship and he got bounced out of town?
Yeah,
and it was, I believe this year it was our guy, Chase McLaughlin, who was their kicker and had a nice season for them.
I think you could be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Chase McLaughlin. So it's just wild, man. It really is. It is a wild, wild thing, and it's sad. These are sad days, and for the Browns now, you've changed your defensive coordinator, you've changed your special teams coordinator.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on the things that have not changed with this staff, with this team, to get it right, I think, in 2023, and justifiably so.
We have some other comings and goings on our staff. The Browns reportedly expect to hire Ephraim Banda as the new safeties coach, according to Ian Rappaport. Banda, currently the defensive coordinator at Utah State, spent time at Mississippi State and Miami. I wonder where the connection's there. He's never coached in the NFL, so I wonder where the familiarity with Schwartz or his staff. Or
coach safeties at Miami from 16 to 20. Final 2 years there, he's co-defensive coordinator. I'm guessing that's Miami, the U. Never played or coached in the NFL. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. If his final 2 years was he was co-defensive coordinator at Miami, and then he went to be the defensive coordinator at Utah State. That's going the opposite direction a little bit. There must be some familiarity. I'm guessing when we see a full bio, there has to be at some point. And then the Cardinals have officially hired our quarterbacks coach Drew Petzing to be their new offensive coordinator. That happened over the weekend as well.
And speaking of Mr. Petzing, from Josina Anderson just a few moments ago, I'm told that Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing has expressed interest in having both Browns offensive quality control coach Ashton Grant and Bill Willis diversity coaching fellow Israel Wolfwork join him in Arizona.
See her last week.
And both of them.
Yeah.
They both were. Yeah, well,
that's right, both.
It's like when
I missed the first day. They both.
Come on in the CBD studio.
There you go. Petzing was just on a month ago.
He was just on a month ago. Yeah, the three of them.
You want a job,
we went through this last year with Kwesi.
Yeah.
Kwesi. We had Kwesi on in this studio after he had already been hired
This is also true.
as
That's a moment,
the
sir.
general manager of the Minnesota Vikings.
Did we do the first interview with him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not other than what he did with them.
Like the
Well, he did a
other than
press
the press
conference.
conference.
Press
but the
conference.
first one-on-one was done by us.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Look, Drew Petzing has wanted to be an offensive coordinator for years. It is an incredible
It's a meteoric
opportunity
rise
for him.
too.
It is a meteoric rise. And I know that the guys on this staff were sad to see him go, but very happy for him as well. So, yeah, that's an opening. We'll get into kind of all the openings there going forward. But I got to tell you, I really don't see what it would be here. So here, I'm just going to run for Banda. Yeah, I'm going to run through it right here. So Banda played at Incarnate Word.
Okay.
From 2008 to 2010, he was a 25-year-old walk-on, one of the oldest college players in college football at the time. Stayed with the Cardinals as student assistant, named a graduate assistant at Texas in 2012, behind the recommendation of a former Incarnate Word coach who was hired at Texas. While at Texas, developed a close relationship with Longhorns defensive coordinator Manny Diaz, as they both got their first jobs outside of coaching. Stayed with the program as they transitioned from Mac Brown to Charlie Strong before joining Diaz at Mississippi State as a defensive quality control coach. Then he followed Diaz to Miami, where he was named the safeties coach in 2016. He left briefly Diaz left briefly to accept the head coaching position at Tampa. Banda was promoted to co-defensive coordinator. He was named defensive coordinator and safeties coach at Utah State on January 5th. And now here he is.
Yeah, I was just looking at there. I don't see anything in Schwartz's history that would connect.
No.
You know, unless his son. I mean, his son. I don't know. But no, I don't. That seems to be out of the clear blue sky.
So the fact that again, we don't know, but that it's being reported he's being hired to be the safeties coach. Again, these are reports from Ian Rappaport. That would lead me to believe that Brandon Lynch will remain as working with the corners as he did last year, and that basically Banda would be replacing Jeff Howard in what he did with the safeties. But it doesn't sound like he's being called the DB coach. But we'll see that when that all comes down and is official here for the Browns. But interesting.
Yeah, very, very. Because usually when something like that happens, there's a connection somewhere. You know, but as you went through that, I did not hear any. One other thing we got to mention here before and there's a lot to get to. We'll go through these openings. We got a lot going on around the NFL as well. So one of the cool things that happened this weekend has happened on Friday night. You were at the play for the lovely Arden, and you and I were texting in an intermission, and we were talking about Miz and the celebrity game. We had Miz on.
We had him on
Friday,
that day,
and we talked about what he was looking for from a stat standpoint.
Sure.
He was looking for a double-double. The play overall in it was brutal, and there was one human. Did you, by the way, the way that it ended, sidetracked, did you know the one human who I would have hated playing with, having watched, or did you watch it?
I watched that once I saw it.
Then you knew, yeah. So there was a guy there, this dude with this waft of hair that was on Miz's team that shot it every time.
That's what he said.
It felt like he had to be the point guard. It was like Mion or something like that.
He said we didn't play basketball. If we played basketball, we would have won.
He's right. They didn't. This one dude who's like a Brazilian famous guy.
Yeah, he's like one of the top Latin artists.
I don't know who the hell he is, but the guy kept wanting the ball, and they kept giving it to him. He'd be like the worst guy to ever play pickup on. So like Miz never got it, and not only did he, like they had actual people who could play, like legitimate people who could play.
By the way, where did
Richard
Richard Jefferson come from?
He just subbed in. Him and Carlos Boozer just came in
for fun.
Yeah, like they had this thing where you could like draft a pro, and then a former pro could come play it for a few up and down. So that's how that was. But the basketball's dreadful. So as I'm watching this damn thing, my kids were into it, so I watched it, and they knew this Jesser and these other people that I'd never heard of. Like Mike hits a legit half-court shot, and I'm watching it live.
Should have been a walk-off winner. It's outrageous.
It would have been a tie.
Well, didn't they say it was a 4-pointer because it was from half
court?
Oh,
maybe it would have been. It would have been a walk-off winner. He missed it by getting it off by about a half second, probably something like that. But in real time, it was close enough that I thought, my God, did he just win it?
He intercepted a pass. Why they threw a ball to half court makes no sense.
Idiots.
He intercepts a pass at half court and then chucks it and just absolute Dranos it.
My initial text to you was, oh, my God. Like,
yeah.
Because in live time, I'm like, he just won it.
Yeah.
Or at least tied it. Like, that happened. And then it changed. But it was so great. And the timing of it, because we were talking with him, like you and I talked about off air, like if he could do this, there's a potential for a Mr. Perfect homage, Mr. Awesome. It's there.
It's
for
there
him
now. Well, he won. I obviously talked to him afterwards.
Yeah.
He won that night.
He won the
I
night.
said, you won the night
It
with
was an
that
ESPN
moment.
headline the next day. It was one of the thing on headlines.
It was like
The Miz hits half-court
top
shot.
play.
It's amazing.
I mean, you get
won.
so what I said to him, I said, here's what's insane about the moment, okay? You hit the shot. Should have counted. It doesn't even, and I said, it doesn't even matter that it didn't count.
Almost better. Yeah.
It's
Fine.
erroneous. Makes no difference. You got Fat Joe on commentary live as it's happening, screaming your name, going nuts, being like, we never lose. We never lose.
Never lost.
And running out there. You have DK Metcalf looking dumbfounded. That look on his face is priceless. You have Giannis running over and putting Miz in a headlock after Miz is in Richard Jefferson's arms. Then he's hugging Shaq. I'm like, you're hugging Shaq and Dwayne Wade?
Right.
After
It's
in
crazy.
the pandemonium of it, then Giannis comes over and puts him in a headlock. I'm like, your life is already completely insane, and I go, this was even insane by your life's standards.
Correct.
And he was like, I can't. He couldn't even believe it. He said it was one of the coolest moments of his life, and the things that he gets to do to have that happen. He's interacting with some of the greatest players like Giannis, Shaq, Dwayne Wade are probably, if there's a 12-on-12. Greatest
they're
of all
all
time game
in the 50 greatest players of all time.
Sure. Wade is the one that might not be a lock to be in that game, but Giannis is in the game and so is Shaq.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I was like, you got celebrities going nuts for you.
It's
You got
great.
everybody. It's everywhere.
So good.
Did you see them? Did you see the? I sent it to you. There's the meme where it's the Spider-Man with like the fuzzy glasses. He's looking, he can't really see, and it's like Steph Curry, and then he puts the glasses on, and it's the Miz.
Right.
And Steph Curry is liking his Instagram posts and like
great.
responding to it. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Crazy
Moments.
He had and a lot because of the way that they played. He had really no impact on the game because of the way he was on the Simeone guy's team. He couldn't get the ball. He couldn't do anything. The guy was driving me nuts, and yet he won it. He won the night. It was awesome.
He won the night
really
in
great.
one moment in a way that nobody else could, and
It was awesome.
It was unbelievable, and it made me so happy for him.
It made me watch that stupid thing because he was in it because I was curious how he would do.
And he gave you the moment.
I wanted to see how it would go.
He gave you the moment. He rewarded your patience, your diligence.
Yeah.
And it gave you the moment to make it happen.
It was an awesome.
I couldn't
awesome
be happier for him. Awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
A couple more notes from the animal warden.
Yep.
D'Souza.
If
you see a skunk, just stop, walk backwards and away slowly.
Yeah, get away from it.
They only spray in imminent danger.
Okay, good note.
So if someone is 10 feet away, they're okay. Just don't keep approaching it.
Okay, all right.
In all caps, don't walk a dog with a retractable leash.
Yeah, I don't do that anyway.
Keep on a short leash, especially at dusk and dawn hours. When letting out at night or in the morning, don't let the pup run free. Turn on the lights. Give a quick scope.
Yeah, I'm on. I do that anyway, so that's good. Those are good. These are all good notes.
And he said, here's the other issue. Right now is mating season for skunks.
Not great. All right, so we got to, does he do skunk eradication?
No, he's the animal warden, so there has to be some kind of.
Got to be something. Yeah, we need.
He's got to be able to do something.
And
with
they're you can't.
We had a guy,
them
this
the way that-
legendary guy, come over because we had him a couple of summers ago. There was a couple of them that were cruising around, and guy came out and he's like, "If you want me to, we can get rid of this, but you're not going to like the way it looks." And it was basically a series of box traps that it had to be throughout the yard, and I'm like, I really don't care how it looks. And then somehow it went away. But I mean, I remember going down the road of like a series of elaborate traps to get the thing out of there.
Oh man,
awful pests.
By the way, not even a comment for this. It's the first.
It's gorgeous. I'm so taken by your face. Your punum slicked. I just wasn't ready. I'm bringing it out at the combine.
I'll bring it to the combine then.
Yeah, I mean it's combine.
So today
combine hoodie.
I wouldn't put it on until I didn't want to have it in my house when I was like cleaning this morning. So I put it on right when I got in the car. I took it off to work out. I took it off while I ate.
Yeah.
And then now it's on again.
I'm nervous to wash it.
I'm not.
I was worried about like drying.
This is made in Milan.
Yeah. I would. So I don't know, but it'll get run out next week at the combine provided we're all there. That's how it'll look great. I look forward. You and I walking in unison. Maybe Gibby will finally wear his.
Which
you gonna wear it at the combine?
I usually tend to I usually go like the polo and nice pants.
So wear it over the polo.
Over the polo.
Which is a look I like. I see a lot of people doing it. A lot of the JT, Justin Thomas,
so my
is doing
biggest,
that a lot now.
It's not that I don't love the sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I wear the sweatshirt. I've worn the sweatshirt twice out and about and had many people ask about it.
Yeah. It's an attention getter.
Here's the problem with white or cream or anything bright.
It's a cream.
It's a cream.
My issue is I like to wear my food.
Well,
yeah, you don't
wear. You
like,
can't eat it.
I just said you take it off.
You got to take it off to eat.
Take it off to eat.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, depending on the shirt underneath, not. It might be better off for the world if I just kept it on.
Well, you got to wear it at the combine.
Got to.
You have to. I mean,
Come on, take it to the combine.
It's got to get sorted out.
Sorted out.
All right, we will go around the NFL coming up next. We're off and running here on a Tuesday edition, Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. To cheer on your Cleveland Browns with the help of your favorite four-legged companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milk Bones and Browns. parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. That's going to be your new thing?
Yeah.
Just to see if you're on.
Yeah, see if I'm on. Instead of hitting the mic, I'm just going to make a crazy sound. I thought that was a good one.
It sounded like a cat that was like hit by an electrical current.
I don't know what it
something
was.
like that. That was good. Today is
I'm going to come with a good chicken later.
Yeah?
I think so. We'll see. You probably have more experience.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm very familiar
Yeah.
with their operations.
Yeah. We'll see what you think of it.
The hens have a different sound than the roosters.
I don't know who I am. I'm not like cock-a-doodle-doo.
That's the rooster guy.
Okay, I'm going to give like more of a buck-buck-bagurk type thing of it.
Bark, 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 bark. That's kind of what it is.
I'm going to give you a little more of that.
That's it.
We'll see. We'll see what you think.
See, all right, I'll judge it. See how it goes.
Coming your way at approximately 1:45.
You'll get that then as we go around the NFL. Franchise tag window officially opens today, runs through March 7th. So this is when you can start doing it. You won't see any. I don't think you'll see any real tags today. You'll see this as things don't work out. Among the names are big ones: Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Orlando Brown, Saquon Barkley is up as well. The numbers, yes.
How about the linebacker is the most expensive because they must be lumping in
They
outside
rush ends.
outside linebackers.
Outside linebackers in 3-4s. Yeah.
Look at the defensive tackle up to $19 million. Right now, the best if you have a tight end, that's a good value. Safety is a pretty good value as well.
Yeah, and isn't what did I see about the exclusive number on quarterbacks is like 45?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Exclusive? That's the one where they have to give you like
2 first-rounders or whatever, so you can take
even
him
more. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Lamar would be in that world, I would think, right?
I don't know what's going to happen with – there are so many dominoes that are going to fall all of a sudden at this quarterback position. I think this is going to be a wild offseason of quarterback movement.
So when do you think it needs to start being done by? Like, are we going to get stuff next week?
I don't know. Didn't you see Carr's, and that's the next note on this, is that David Carr, the brother of Derek, who I imagine has a good source, just like we just sourced some news right there.
I wish we could actually
share,
source it, but we can tell you
source the
for
person,
a fact.
Yeah, source the person himself.
Yeah. There's been other instances in history where we've had that properly sourced, and again,
zip it.
Yeah.
But I heard it from the person. No.
He literally said it to me.
To me. Yeah. Along with some other things. Anyway, David saying it's going to be a long process for his younger brother, despite Derek receiving high interest from the Jets and other teams. So I don't know why he would want to take his time. To me, you'd want to get this deal done if you're Derek Carr. You were in a unique position to get this done prior to the start of free agency so that all of the available money is out there, right?
Yeah.
You want to be the first person to sign. So you can lock in. They won't be able to pay you probably until that happens, right?
I think it's when he says long, or it's going to be a long process. I think the way I read it was it's not going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be in the next 2 weeks. It has to be.
Yeah.
And I think that there are really kind of 2 different pursuits that are happening here. The Derek Carr pursuit. Just think about this. When's the last time a Pro Bowl quarterback came to a true free market? I mean, Brady did, but that was a different circumstance. Like Cousins is probably the last one that was a true free agent that played out his cap, his franchise tags, and was a true free agent. Like to have a starting NFL Pro Bowl caliber quarterback be available for no cost to you, that doesn't happen very often. Cousins is the last one I could remember.
It's wild.
That came to market totally free. So there are going to be teams, whether it's the Jets, and I'm thinking of all those teams in the NFC South, who look at Derek Carr and say, Derek Carr, what is he, 30, 32, somewhere in there?
Yeah, 2014 draft.
Okay, so he's probably 33,
and he
30,
played all
there.
this full way there. So, 22, so we'll call him maybe
32,
31.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. So he's going to have – there are going to be teams that look at him and go, we can have Derek Carr for nothing in terms of assets, for nothing, for the next 5 years. And what does that get us? Does that get us what – let's use Cousins. Does that get us what Minnesota's been the last 5-6 years? For many teams, that's a big win. That's winning the NFC South. If you put him on one of those teams, he'd be the best quarterback in the division. You win the division. You can win they won a playoff game in Minnesota with Cousins. It's all – if we want to just use that as a doppelganger. Then – there are going to be other places that say, with a quarterback, we can go win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And that quarterback might be Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
And we will give up first-round picks in order to get that window, which is the Stafford Rams window.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of – and then you mentioned the other dominoes, the Lamar domino in this, whatever the Bears do at the top of the draft. There's a lot going on.
Good Derek Carr, though. I feel like you could even say he could be Stafford-ish at this stage in his career when he was good.
I don't think he could be in the AFC.
No, the NFC, though.
In the NFC,
sure.
I think you could definitely see him taking the team to a Super Bowl
He
in the NFC.
turns 32 on March the 28th. He turns 32. Derek Carr has played with, I was reading something about it, so he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He has played with, in his career, the worst DVOA, defense and special teams of like any quarterback ever.
I believe that.
So
I think he's unfairly judged by how awkward he was on Hard Knocks.
he is a strange guy.
I think people saw him on Hard Knocks and went, this is a weird dude, a different way of going about his business. And so, and I think he's held back by that. And I think it's also, you mentioned 4-time Pro Bowler in the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all the quarterback talent has been.
Prior to this last season, which was not great for him. Prior to this last season, he had 5 straight years where he completed at least 67.3% of his passes, threw for more than 4,000 yards, threw for more than well over 20 touchdowns, averaged about maybe 10 interceptions per year, and had a quarterback rating that was right around 100 for 5 straight seasons. He did that.
Yeah, that's track record, man.
Like, he can play.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he's in the NFC, and it's a team that's a quarterback away in the NFC, you're a contender.
Yeah.
You know, wherever that may be.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's in one of those NFC South teams. Is that Washington? Is it the Giants if they don't do something with Dan Dimes?
Yeah, the NFC East is the toughest division to go into of all of them. But if you can get to this, like you said, to your point, the South, you have a chance to really, I think, be good pretty quickly. I think the Saints would be an intriguing landing spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Atlanta is a great landing spot for Lamar Jackson. Go ahead and get him right out of the AFC and get him down there. I think that that would fit well with what they do down there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. If I'm a quarterback, I want to go to the NFC because I want bites at the apple and I want swings at the plate for all the analogies, which means getting into the playoffs. Your path to the playoffs is significantly easier in the NFC than it is the AFC. Period. End of story. Hard stop. Like not even close.
Not close.
Right.
So, but those are I think you'll get a feeling on this next week at the Combine. We'll get a feeling on a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
A couple other coaching updates. Bieniemy officially agreed to terms as the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach in Washington. The Colts expected to name Jim Bob Cooter their new offensive coordinator. Great name.
Best name.
Huge.
I mean, it's
huge. Weird for a name like that to go from Jacksonville to Indy. Feels like Jacksonville's the right spot.
He started it. He was in Detroit, right? Wasn't he in Detroit for a while?
Yeah. He definitely was. Chargers are promoting Derek Ansley as their new defensive coordinator per Tom Pelissero. So the last item here on this around the NFL and then around the sports world landscape. Saturday night, I had what has become a very unique sports experience. One where I saw something live that was stunning, shocking, wonderful.
It's awesome.
And did not see it coming in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know how I stumbled onto it.
Nobody saw it coming.
The boys had gone to bed. It's funny because last week, I think you and I were talking about this. I didn't even know who the 4 people were in the dunk contest, except for Kenyon Martin Jr., only because I knew his dad.
Right.
I didn't even know there was a Kenyon Martin Jr.
Same.
That I didn't know existed. And I just happened to, let's see where they are on All-Star Saturday night.
Yep.
And I turned it on, and Mac McClung goes forth, which leads me to go to, who the hell is this? Who's this guy? Who's Matt McClung? So I get in, and I'm looking in.
Yeah.
Okay, all-time leading high school scorer, Virginia, played at Georgetown, played at Texas Tech. G League guy, played 2 games for the Sixers. Like, who is this guy? And then he proceeded to give me one of the most unique sports moments of just an explosion onto the scene that you did not see coming. I had no clue he could do any of it. I mean, no idea.
Looking at him, you'd have no idea. And by the way, his resume, I don't even understand. The only thing that maybe kind of, I would say, tipped me off is that you just read his resume, and it doesn't feel like you should be allowed to be in the NBA slam dunk contest with that resume.
But
so
nobody's in it, so I just thought, well, they
Right,
just
but-
needed warm bodies to be in the thing.
he had to be pretty.
So
Yeah.
upon further inspection, he's known for this. Like, apparently there's YouTube channels that have his stuff.
Okay. So that's how he got it.
But for most of us, knew
no,
nothing of it.
I knew nothing. Never
Knew
even.
nothing.
I
Were
never
you watching it live?
heard his name. So I saw. I don't know if it was your tweet. I saw a tweet about it and then put it on.
Okay, so you maybe missed the first dunk live.
But then I saw.
But then
I
you
watched
next three.
It. Yes, I watched the next
Yeah,
three.
yeah.
And I was just like, he's floating.
He's done. He did 3 dunks I've never seen before. I've never seen anybody hurdle a
So
guy on somebody's
supposedly-
back and back tap the backboard and dunk.
And then dunk it. Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do a 540 ever.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody jump and then double pump a windmill.
That was.
I've never
nuts.
seen that.
He was suspended in air.
Yes.
Glenn Robinson Jr. was that who jumped over 2 people?
I don't know.
Somebody did a similar one to him, but didn't tap the backboard, where they went over and then it ended up being a reverse over 2 with a guy like on other guy's shoulders. The 540 was similar to somebody else, but everything he did was with more panache. It was just better.
The fact that he's 6'2"
Yeah.
only made it more extraordinary to watch because you saw the difference from his feet to the ground was what it was. I was trying to think of other things that were just shocking comets out of nowhere, and I thought of like Yasiel Puig was like that with the Dodgers. Like he's like came over in a boat at night from Cuba, and then all of a sudden he was hitting leadoff for the Dodgers and hitting 800.
Yeah, seriously.
I was like, is this Babe Ruth?
and
And he did it for a whole year.
and then disappeared.
Same thing. Yeah. And the only other one was like Linsanity. Jeremy Lin did that with the Knicks. But it wasn't like this was a live moment. We aren't surprised much as sports fans anymore. We're smarter than we've ever been. We know who's good when they're 15, you know? So like to have somebody I've never heard of dunk like I've never seen anybody dunk. And I'm not saying it's Vince
The
Carter
reaction
or
of
Jordan,
the
but it was
players
just
too
like,
was also.
Yeah, it was like
they were like, wait, what?
what are we watching?
And then was it Lisa Leslie that gave him a 9?
Yeah, she blew it. That was the only. My wife was so mad. That was the only 9. Everything else, and they all should have been 50s.
All
She
of
gave
them.
him a 49.
Every single one.
It should have been 4 perfect scores. He never missed, by the way,
Didn't miss.
which that's critical. I think that was Shaq's advice. Don't miss one. Do that. That's a win. That was fun.
Can we
though.
talk about Sunday night?
Not next hour.
Okay.
Next hour we'll talk about Sunday night.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take a look at our coaching vacancies on the staff. Kevin Stefanski's got a lot of work ahead of him here. We'll get to that coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back into Cleveland Browns Daily. It's not bad. It's not bad. Brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Just the looking in there and the look from like a disappointed and unhappy father figure in there.
It's not a look of disdain. Like, the first time you did it, I was like, what the hell was that? And I'm like, is it gear malfunctioning? And I just kind of gave you a look, and I was like, all right, fine, I get it where you're going. But then Mr. Ed's been dead for 10 minutes, and you just decided to whoop him again.
Right. No, I announced that this one was coming.
This one was coming.
It was pretty good.
Scheduled.
I think having.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, if this doesn't work out,
yeah,
I can play a chicken in a movie.
You'd be ready.
The voice.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, here's where we stand. We need a special teams coordinator.
Yep.
You mentioned this earlier in terms of the gentleman in
Bubba Ventrone.
Bubba Ventrone. Former Brown. And we'll talk to Stephen Holder about that here at the top of the hour. So he would be at the top of the list.
Yeah, he was the special teams captain for the Browns in 2011 and 12. Was the special teams captain for the Niners in 13 and 14. Played safety for the Browns from 2009 2012. His special teams units have ranked in the top 5 each of the last 5 years in Indy, where he has been the special teams coordinator. And if reporting is to be believed, it does feel like he's taken the job. Somebody just tweeted us out an even better. Oh my goodness gracious me! Did you see that dunk?
No.
Oh my goodness.
McClung?
Yeah, looks just the Jack of Hearts.
All right, I'll find it. All right, so we'll ask Stephen Holder about him coming up at 2 o'clock. When was he here, Bubba Ventrone?
2009 to 2012.
So predates both of us.
Both of us, yeah. And he was special teams captain for the Browns in 11 and 12. When my first year, which would have been 13 season, he went to the Niners and was the Niners special teams captain in 13 and 14. And as I mentioned, his units have been elite. They've been elite units, yes.
We need a new quarterbacks coach because Drew Petzing went to Arizona to run the offense there. Ravens quarterback coach James Urban has been one of the names linked to the Browns for this. That's per Jeff Zrebeck, who we've had many, many times on the program.
And he had been the Ravens.
And he'd been their quarterback coach there. We need a defensive line coach because Chris Kiffin is no longer with us. And then a defensive backs coach and passing game coordinator as well. So there's a lot on the staff that's got to get sorted out.
We got a lot to do. And, you look at offensively, Stefanski, obviously head coach, and he runs the offense. He's back. Alex Van Pelt's back at OC. Stump Mitchell back with the running backs. You've got Chad O'Shea with the receivers, C.C. McCartney with the tight ends, and the great Bill Callahan, assisted by Scott Peters with the offensive line. So you've got an opening quarterback coach. Do you need one? Not necessarily. I mean, Alex Van Pelt could easily be the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. I don't know that you need one, but obviously that is a change with Drew gone, so perhaps they will want one there. But defensively, you've got some changes now, and it feels like really the opening is D-line coach. Mm-hmm. If Banda is coming in to be replace Jeff Howard with the safeties, Brandon Lynch, from all accounts, is still here. We haven't heard anything different on that with the corners. And then now we need special teams. And it sounds like we could have the special teams one sounds like it could be filled quicker. Now, as I understand it, the Colts have to grant permission, and we'll talk all about this with Stephen Holder. Now, the Browns could also just do exactly what the Washington Commanders did with Bieniemy, which is say, oh, yeah, you're the offense coordinator and assistant head coach. So he could just be special teams coordinator and assistant head coach to give it a promotion, and then you don't have to get their permission. Yeah, a lot of turmoil, and again, some odd timing of the changes that have happened here for the Browns. With Drew Petzing leaving this week, your special teams coordinator leaving, and again, it feels like, and we'll get more insight from Holder, I would guess, that the Browns just really, really wanted Bubba Ventrone, and with the coaching change in Indianapolis, and that coming as late as it did, given that it came from the Eagles after the Super Bowl, that now that's a possibility, and so they decided to make this move.
I think I'm with you. The timing of it is not what normally happens.
It bums you out for a Preef.
And Preef's our guy, so that bums you. But the other thing is like the whole league's behind schedule.
Yes.
This was not a coaching window where there was Sean Payton, and then everybody else there weren't a bunch of guys out there who we were waiting on.
No.
It was like both in Indy and in Arizona, it was like, well, I guess we might as well hire the coordinators in Philly. They're good. And so they did. It's not like anyone was talking about Gannon, and I'm blanking on the guy in Indy. Steicher? Yeah.
We'll have to find out how he says his name.
It wasn't like we were hearing their names.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Robert Saleh when it was like, well, someone's going to hire Robert Saleh. Like, just a matter of he was going to pick his right spot. That wasn't the case here. Like, it felt like Indy and Arizona kind of exhausted options and then ended up with the two coordinators for Philly for lack of better options.
Yes.
And I think so that made the coaching carousel last a lot longer than it normally did, because normally you got guys hired in the first couple of weeks, it feels like.
Yeah.
And there were many job opens. I mean, even Reich was late. It's not like he was right away in Carolina. A lot of them were down the road a couple weeks in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
For sure. Strange hiring season. And it just has kind of created, it's your point, a late start on a lot of these coaching situations that have happened. And the Browns obviously are kind of caught in that, with one of those new coaches hired after the Super Bowl plucking our quarterback coach to be their OC. And now it feels like we are plucking an available special teams coordinator to replace the great Preef.
All right, so we'll ask Stephen Holder. He's been all over this, ESPN NFL reporter in Indy, what he can tell us about Bubba Ventrone and about this process. That will come up at the top of the hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Let's head on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. On the other end, we find ESPN NFL reporter Stephen Holder. Stephen, thank you so much covering the Colts over in Indy. A lot of Bubba Ventrone. What can you tell us where we stand now? Is this thing done as you understand it, or close?
I don't think done is the right description, but I do think there's a lot of expectation that he'll end up in Cleveland. That is definitely true. I mean, I heard about this early this morning, and the feedback I was getting is that he's on his way to Cleveland. Obviously, that might have been overstated by some of those sources, but that speaks to the expectation of people in the league right now that this is likely to happen. So we'll see. I mean, nothing's ever done until it's done. And the one thing I'd say is that there has been a lot of movement here, and this hiring cycle has been. If you talk to people, that they've all kind of said this has been just an unusually busy hiring cycle. So things have become a little unpredictable. But I would not be surprised if this gets done. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been a strange cycle, and it's also because it's been a delayed cycle. The Colts, one of the two teams hiring, one of the coordinators of the Eagles after the Super Bowl. So you're having this movement in February. What would make Ventrone want to leave? And how do you say your new head coach's name, the last name?
Shane Steichen.
Did Steichen have a special teams coordinator of his own? Because you look up the resume, and Bubba Ventrone's units have been top 5 every year that he's been there. So how has it come to be that he would be available? And it almost feels like that's the reason Prefer was let go today by the Browns, is because Bubba Ventrone is now suddenly available to them.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like, you can connect those dots, and it definitely does make sense if you do that. Now, to answer your question, I would say this. When the Colts introduced Steichen last week, I guess a week ago today, they had the press conference. The coaches who were still on the staff were all in attendance, including Bubba Ventrone, the defensive staff, which we expect to be retained. But there hasn't been any official announcement. And so I was working under the assumption, like a lot of people, that Bubba Ventrone was coming back. I know that he is held in high regard in the organization. So it may just be as simple as this just came about. That it's possible. It's very, very possible this just came about. I don't have any indication that this was something that had been brewing for a long time. I reached out to a couple sources in the Colts organization today, and they were unaware until this news came out. So I do think this is something that's just unfolding. And so what I'm saying is I presume this opportunity just came up. And there's a couple things that would perhaps, I'm speculating, but perhaps make this appealing to him. Bubba Ventrone has a lot of interest in becoming a head coach in the long term, and I think he has the stuff to do it. I really do. Now, to do that, maybe he gets – I don't know what the Browns staff currently looks like, but maybe there's an associate head coach kind of title to be had.
Sure.
That would certainly be appealing. Money is always a factor for all of us, okay? That's certainly could be a factor here. So, I just think when you're looking at your long-term goals, sometimes, you have to kind of move around and position yourself to get where you want to go. There could be a lot of reasons that we aren't aware of that maybe make this appealing to Bubba Ventrone. But you are right. He is definitely, I think, among the elite special teams coordinators in the NFL.
Have the Colts granted the permission? We know the Browns have asked for permission. Is it your understanding that the Colts have granted that permission at this time?
So it's a little unclear. I mean, it certainly appears that way. I mean, every indication is that there's strong interest there. I think generally, when permission is requested, when we hear about it, it's usually because the coach is going to make the interview, right?
Yep.
Generally, every blue moon you hear about permission being denied. That generally doesn't happen very often because those conversations tend to not come out. So yeah, a little speculative there, but my interpretation of this is that it has been. What we also are unclear about is, and a lot of times this is hard with assistant coaches, we don't always know their contract status. It's possible his contract's up or about to be up. I think those assistant coach contracts come up usually at some point after the Super Bowl. So if not already, and pretty soon. And so if that's the case, then then it would just kind of be almost a formality, if you will, if a coach is coming out of his contract. But I'm not clear on that part. But it does seem as though that permission was granted. And look, I think the Colts having just made a coaching change, I think maybe in a situation like that, you want to kind of do your guys a solid if they're looking for other opportunities, which would be understandable. The last thing I would say is I have no idea if this is a factor here, but I'm just mentioning this. Bubba Ventrone was passed over for the interim head coach job when Frank Reich was dismissed in midseason. I know he would have been very interested in having that title, and I happen to think he would have been probably the best choice. And so, something to keep in mind, way in the back of our heads, if and when this happens, maybe a question to ask him.
Talking to the great Stephen Holder, ESPN NFL reporter in Indy, about Bubba Ventrone, current special teams coordinator there, potentially could be the future one here. You've mentioned this on a couple of your answers, and I've taken notes certainly about him having the stuff to be a head coach. What does he have? What is there to him, or is it just it? And if you have it, he does. What can you tell us about him, the man, his coaching style that would lead you to have that type of stance on him?
Yeah, so there is sort of the intangible stuff, right, which you kind of mentioned there. There's that, and if I ever figure it out, how to explain it, I'll bottle it and sell it. But failing that, I think everybody kind of knows what you mean, right? It's just there's a vibe about that you get from some guys, right, who just kind of have it. So there's that, and then coupled with the things that his players say about him, and just the way that he coaches them hard, but also gets the best out of them. But I think there are also some tangible things we can point to, and it's a couple things. Number one, I think he has a really good eye for talent. I can point to a few years ago, I think when he first got here, in fact, I can point to them, looking at Rodrigo Blankenship as a guy who was coming in as an undrafted free agent punter kicker, I think out of the University of Hawaii. They end up keeping him as their punter, and he becomes one of the best punters in the NFL. That was really Bubba Ventrone who saw that in him and really was open to that and convinced, and that's the other thing, sold the organization on that too, which is also important. The other thing I would say is there have been a number of, I think, really good core special teams players here who really, were on the fringe of the roster and were kept only at the behest of Bubba Ventrone. Otherwise would have been cut. And they weren't core special teamers when he convinced the team to keep them, but he developed them into core special teamers because he saw it in them. And some of those guys have gone on to become rotational players or even starters as well on offense or defense. So I just think his eye for talent is really, really good and sharp, and I think that can only help you, when you're making the case, for a bigger role with any organization.
Stephen, I know you got to run. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Really appreciate it on short notice.
Hey, anytime, guys.
All right, Stephen Holder, ESPN NFL reporter in Indy, on Bubba Ventrone potentially being in the mix here.
Great get by Gibbe to get him, Stephen Holder, to talk Bubba Ventrone, who went by Ray Ventrone when he was with the Browns, and I think Bubba's got more of a much better ring. Yeah, great Bubba. It sounds like from him that people in Indy kind of think it's happening. Now, I will note the Browns have also requested to interview Giants assistant special teams coordinator Anthony Blevins. According to multiple reports, he interviewed with Denver for their special teams coordinator opening and is currently with the Giants. So it feels like they felt like they had to let Prefer go to get a shot at Bubba Ventrone, right? And that's from Stephen Holder's talk about it. It sounds like he feels pretty good that it's happening. So we'll have to stay there. He's considered to be, as you heard, an elite special teams coordinator. His units have ranked, as I mentioned, near the top in terms of performance, certainly the last few years. According to the Pro Football Focus grades, his special teams units have been basically top 5 in each of the last 5 years. There was one exception in 2019, but last year 4th, 2021 2nd, 2020 1st, 2019 21st, 2018 5th. So for the last 5 years in the top 5, including a 1st and 20th, 2nd and 21. So Sounds pretty good. And we need to be, we are a team that has a lot of pressure on it. And you cannot discount the fact that some of the games got away from us this year because of special teams. Jets game, you have a missed extra point, you failure to recover an onside kick. Chargers games, multiple missed field goals, including one that would have won the game. And I think those early season ones, the punt return against the Ravens, those were all in the first 7 weeks. You win those 3 games, I think this is a completely different season.
Well, and I think the other thing is that's why I thought it was interesting that Steven kept talking about, that has the stuff to be a head coach. When you think about, and Preef did a great job in the wild card game and coached that game and got a victory. So forever indebted for that. But I think you're also, and this was probably the case with Joe too, there a little bit of juice maybe injected. So maybe if he has those qualities, whatever that it is, if he has those qualities, that leadership, that vocal, we talked about it a lot this season about, the accountability and leadership, and you got to have some guys who are follow me to freedom guys. Schwartz certainly has that. That was well documented at his press conference. You knew what you're getting in there. And if Ventrone has that too, then there's a little bit of a balance.
Here's what Colts linebacker E.J. Speed had to say on his relationship with special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone. He said, quote, "He's the type of coach that makes you believe you can be more than what you are. He's always going to be honest about how he's feeling and what you should be doing. You can come to him and talk to him about anything you got going on, and he's not going to coddle you. He's going to give you a grown man answer, and he coaches the same way. He expects you to do it right every time. It has to be every rep. It's not like, well, when you get in the game, just make sure you make that block, because if you're in practice and you're not making that block, he's going to let you know it's unacceptable, and he's going to hold you accountable. That's why I roll with Bubba, because when you're doing that type of stuff and you're keeping it real outside of the football field, I can come talk to you about anything. Now I want to be that great for you. You know what I'm saying? And if I know I'm a guy who's been showing that I can do this and do that, and another guy hasn't, Bubba will be like, look, I don't care who the other guy is. You've been shown in practice. Go ahead and shine, because I'm going to put you in the light and let the front office or whoever else take it from there. He's really cool like that. So that obviously able to relate to players. And I think some of what, has ailed us that we've talked about, and this is not in any way, shape, or form. I think this is an overall thing. This is not a Joe Woods thing or Mike Prefer thing, but we have had a tough time, I think, reaching the players and getting to be more than, the sum of the parts. Yeah. And I think that is, Jim Schwartz, just hearing him, that's the kind of guy that he is. He's going to lead and be fair and be honest and be direct and get in their butts a little bit and be emotional. And it sounds like Bubba Ventrone is able to do that as well. And I think that's something that we need injected into this organization. And I think that can go a long way, because defensively, we're going to be a good offense. I have no doubt about that. I mean, we were a top 10 offense with Jacoby Brissett last year. We're going to be a good offense. We're in very good hands there. Defensively, while we had some busts, we could have been better than we were. It was a lack of discipline on and off the field, I think, that really affected that unit. That should get cleaned up with Schwartz. And then special teams, he gets to touch the whole team, because you have guys from offense and guys from defense on special teams. So I think it sets up very well for the Browns if Bubba Ventrone actually is the guy. And it's kind of amazing that this opportunity came up, but it would make more sense as to why things have gone down the way that they have with Mike Prefer if it's because Bubba Ventrone is now available. Yeah. And if we go in another direction, we just did like 30 minutes on Bubba Ventrone. It's great. Which is fantastic. Yeah. So. Believe me, people are fired up about Bubba Ventrone. So I hope he comes. I just like you saying it. Yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to say. I know. All right, we'll count down our 10 biggest needs for the Browns this offseason. Numbers 10 and 9 coming up. We've got a little higher, lower as well. Give some thoughts on Sunday's All-Star festivities. There was a ton of sports this weekend. I'm curious. The ratings will be out tomorrow. They're delayed a little by President's Day. I'm curious how Daytona 500, XFL was this weekend. The golf was in L.A. You had the All-Star Game festivities as well. So there's a lot going on. Sure. We'll get to all of that coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Your home for the last time with their new home exteriors, siding, and roofing products. Don't spend all day with high-pressure sales guys. The team at Renew Home Exteriors won't waste your day with hours of negotiating the price of your project. Just an upfront, fair price to make your project easy. Modernize your home with premium siding ranging in every style and color. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit renewestimate.com for more on that. Gibbe wants 10 things that are the biggest needs for us this offseason. So for clarification, how are we defining your own? How are we going to define things?
I have all over the place.
You're all over the place.
I have positions that we don't have right now that need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got people on the roster that need to be better than they were a year ago. I have kind of in the moment type of things. I've got a lot of stuff here.
All right.
Got a lot of stuff here.
All right. So let's roll. Let's go with your number 10. Number 10 thing.
Countdown. Number 1 is the most important. Number 10, the least important.
Least to most. Yes.
All right. I'm going to change. That's gonna be
Do you need a minute?
I think
By
he's
the way,
good.
this is
I'm good.
this is the final full week of February.
That's right.
We made it through.
All right.
Dude, we made it. I mean, that's what I said. Like, I'm not going to complain about the weather in March, not the temperature. I can complain about the rain. I'll reserve the right to complain about that.
I'm sure we're going to get our fair share of that.
The last week that we've had, come on, in February?
It's been a delight.
To not be in a deep freeze? It's
Yeah.
been amazing. And there's none on the horizon either. All right, so give me your 10. Number 10.
Number 10, I'd like a true slot cornerback on this roster. I think that we have, I don't know if moves are going to be made in that cornerback room, but I do think we need a true nickel on the roster. Somebody who, like Troy Hill was the year before. Bo, your hand is raised.
Would it be possible that he already is, he just wears number 21?
It is possible, but I don't think given his concussion history your nickel defender has got to be an integral part of your run defense, and I don't think Denzel is that interested in that, and then also I don't know that it's that prudent to have him sticking his head in there as much in run defense. Look, we have 3 great outside corners. I don't know what by the time Greg gets here and how that all gets worked out, but my guess is he wants to play outside, and statistically last year our 2 best outside corners were MJ Emerson and Greg Newsome. So we're in a little bit of a pickle there. Having a true nickel, I think, would help just because there are going to be injuries. It just always happens. So you need to have that guy that's a true slot so that if Denzel were to miss some time, which he has done on a fairly regular basis, not a lot, but that you have a true nickel that you can slide in there. So I think that's a priority for us the offseason.
All right. Number 9 on your list.
What's number 10 on your list?
Same as yours.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Ernie Johnson here. Okay. That's you.
Number 9 on my list is a true center field free safety. And so this is number 9 because as of this time, it's not a glaring need or a pressing need. You have John Johnson and you've got Grant Delpit back. John Johnson, could he be a Brown this year? Certainly. We loved talking with him on the show. I thought he played well as the season went on, played better. But he's got a big price tag, and money is right now a little tight. I'm sure we're going to do some restructuring. We could restructure Amari. We could restructure Miles. We could structure Deshaun and clear up some cap space there. But with a post-first designation, John Johnson's cut would save over $9 million. He and Grant are very similar in where they are the best. They are both best closer to the line of scrimmage. Now, Grant showed as the season went on, 4 interceptions this year, he had a great cover 2, which is a deep half safety look where he got an interception of Carson Wentz. And then, man in the post, he played deep center field and got a pick against Washington. But I think he's at his best kind of closer to the line of scrimmage in more of a strong safety role. So if you had a true center fielder so we could play some of those cover 3s, free Grant up to be a playmaker, that would be a big thing. Jesse Bates is a name that has been constantly linked to the Browns this offseason.
That'd be a big swing.
It would be a huge, right from your, from a rival and put him on your team. That would be huge, but it's number 9 because it's not a need. If we know that, we do make a change on the back end of this defense, that would shoot well up the list to me.
There's a redundancy to Johnson and Delpit. They're both good at the same thing, yes. Right? So that's what makes it tricky. and neither one is totally comfortable doing what you just explained. That's not their best part of their game, and so you want them up near the line. You want them blitzing. You want them and they both do that at a high level. Delpit, you drafted. He's younger.
That's what he did at LSU.
So on. That's what he did at LSU. Right. So that's kind of where that thing goes. 2 in the secondary.
Again, these are at the bottom of the pecking order.
Sure.
Like, I mean, if we rolled out our secondary of Denzel, MJ, Greg, John, and Delpit, I think obviously you need some depth there, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You still feel pretty good about that back end. So it's not a huge need, and the slot corner is really more of a depth, but if we do bring in another corner, you want it to be, I think, a true nickel. And then I think that the true center field free safety is what really could get this defense going. We're going to get to other parts of the defense as we go on, but that to me, is not necessarily a need today, but has the opportunity to be a need and then become a huge strength if you are the team that is able to convince Bates to come and play here.
Oh my gosh! And the other thing that's when you think about the priority list, and as we get towards the top of the list, it's going to be the things that we talk about all the time. But you kind of have to. There's only so much money to go around.
Yep.
So you have to kind of pick your poison in terms of where are we going to be. You can't be elite everywhere.
No.
Nobody can be, because we're at a point now where we're having to pay our best players. We're paying Miles. We're paying Denzel. We're paying the quarterback. Paying Nick Chubb. So you're paying a lot of
paying 2 guards.
Right. You're paying a lot of our veteran guys. There's not enough money to go around. This isn't the old days when you had Baker on a rookie contract and Miles hadn't been redone and Denzel's on a rookie contract.
No.
And Wyatt was off the scrap heap and you could start throwing a lot of money around. Our money's allocated.
Yes.
So this will be bargain deals.
Prudent.
And, restructurings, those type of things are going to be, I think very much the topic of the day as we get into free agency. I mean, we have been big swings in free agency as long as I've been doing this show. We've had a lot of big swings in free agency. Like we identify who we want, they go get them, and that's probably not going to be the case this year.
It's going to be tougher. Like people who think they're going to be able to get Daron Payne or Javon Hargrave and a Jesse Bates, that's very difficult. I think they're going to choose one big star, and then they're going to try to get pieces, and it's probably easier on the interior of the defensive line to find pieces that can together create what you're looking for. Now Jim Schwartz always had an all-pro or a Pro Bowler on the interior of his defensive line everywhere that he has been, literally every single stop.
It might be true that the best chance for that is Perrion Winfrey.
In here, but he has got to want it. He has got to grow up fast. He's got to become a professional quickly. Talent-wise, yes, he has the ability to be a very, very productive, disruptive interior defensive lineman. We saw that really over the second half of the season. Should have had 3 sacks this year, all in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and as we get to the top of this list, I mean, it's your list we're going off of, but I know for a fact our number ones are going to be the same. So that's something that.
It was a late addition.
We're a long ways up.
One,
oh, okay. So is it an organic as opposed to specific? Little hint for the kids.
Number 2 is more organic and less specific than number 1. One is somewhat specific.
All right. All right. So we'll do 8 and 7 tomorrow. On this list. You want to do NBA All-Star Sunday quickly here before we get to higher or lower?
Fine. It was awful. I've never heard players and coaches just destroy the game the way they did. It was awful. I stopped watching.
It was I think basketball of all of them is it's a little bit like you've heard people use the analogy, even bad pizza is good pizza. There's still some entertainment in seeing people dunk, right? But the fact that this thing has been bastardized to the point of no effort at all. I mean, they put in those Elam endings, which that's from the basketball tournament where you play to a score. They put those in to try to make the end of quarters fun. They didn't even care about that. They didn't care about that at all. All the shooting from half court, the nonsense. I mean, no defense whatsoever, just free reign to the rim whenever you want it.
It was Jaylen Brown said it was like a layup line. There were so many uncontested, just like layups, not even dunks.
Yeah,
just like layups. Anybody who had the ball that wanted to score could score every single time they had the ball. If they just wanted to move towards the basket, they would have scored every time.
Yeah, and it was a far cry from even – it's funny, so often you end up in get off my lawn territory, but this isn't even going back to like when you and I were kids. I'm talking about even Kobe and Michael
I was just going to bring that up. They were
in
getting
the late
playing
90s. Were
defense.
getting after it.
Yes.
You know, and Kobe. There's a clip going around of Kobe that was going around this weekend about how when it came time for the fourth quarter, it was like, okay, let's go.
Let's play real basketball.
I'm gonna go win the.
That never came. Though.
I'm gonna go win the All-Star game. We're gonna go win the All-Star game. Like, I'm not losing, and that is gone from the sport. I mean, it was bad. It was a clown show.
I mean, Malone said it after the game. I thought Anthony Edwards, I thought was spot on about it. Jaylen Brown was spot on. I thought Edwards was cool too. He said, "We got to stop with this not playing nonsense."
Mm-hmm.
You know, people maybe be able to afford to go to one game a year, and they pick that game because they want to see that player, and then he just is like, "Yeah, I'm resting." Like,
some of that isn't, to be fair, some of that isn't in the players' hands. Some of that's coaching,
but
or even ownership.
It just shouldn't be
They'll
happening.
sit their guys on for rest. No, of course it shouldn't be happening. I bemoaned the fact that it happened twice here with the Warriors and it happened with the Warriors, the Bucks, and the Luka was the big one though. Like, one trip into town gets a rest day. Same thing with the Warriors. You get one trip into town. Steph, Clay, Draymond, all healthy, all sat.
They should just have nobody play back-to-backs then, and then nobody ever sits. They could schedule that out.
They could. They're gonna have to lose some games on the schedule. But I think they've got to find. I mean, I think all you got to do is, like, as a player, you have to have some pride and just say, okay, we're going to try this year. Like LeBron could do it in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
If he just said, hey, we're going to go hard now. Fine, done.
Also,
everybody would go.
Yeah.
That'd fix the All-Star game.
Who ended up being the MVP?
Jason Tatum had 55 points.
Yeah.
So the record forever was Wilt had 42 in an All-Star game, and now it's been broken 3 times in the last. Anthony Davis had 50. Steph Curry had 50 last year here, and then Jason Tatum set the all-time record with 55.
Jeez.
But it was just a layup. It was just either layups or half-court shots.
Yeah, too many.
Just clown show.
Yeah, silliness.
Really was. All right, we'll do a little higher, lower, better, or worse coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. There he is, in a cream.
He's in this.
He's
in one of these.
In one of those.
He just needs to put it on there.
Put it on there.
I'm going to tell him right now. He has our blessing.
He doesn't need it, but yeah, he should. Right? You're not up. Now go.
Is that a fresh hoodie Z? Like, it looks like it's fresh out of the box with like.
You're not aware of this?
I'm
AP's
fully aware
back?
of it, but it looks
AP's
like
here
it looks
on a
like
higher
he-
lure.
he
It
just
is
got
fresh.
Yeah.
We've talked about the cream clothing line several times.
That it's happened.
Yeah, looks good. This is my first time, I think, seeing you wear it in the studio.
It is.
So.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
It's made in Milan.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
The journey of a young woman from Milan to Minsk.
That's right.
Rochelle.
Rochelle.
AP's in studio. Gibbe wants to know, what are your opinions on Mike Prefer being relieved of duties?
Yeah, this was a change that you could have seen coming after the last couple of years of just the inconsistent play on the special team side of the ball. It wasn't just kind of the troubles that Cade York had. Obviously, there was some ups and downs as far as punt coverage and kick coverage, and it just where things could get better on really all sides of special teams play. So, Preef's such a great guy. Sorry to see him go, but they need to be a lot stronger in that department next year, and that's why the change I think had to be made.
But it's odd timing, right?
It is definitely odd timing.
It feels more like, Steichen goes to Indy.
I wonder if it was
Ventrone wants to get out, so now because we have a chance to upgrade in their eyes, we're going to do something. But I think they were fine bringing Preef back. And our special teams, it's still in the top half of the league.
We're over a month into the offseason. Normally, this is when you're not letting coaches go. You're if anything, figuring out who's still coming in. And yes, the timing was definitely interesting and a little off-putting. But I think what you have is probably correct. It's assistants are moving around the league right now as the coaching stuff gets figured out. And
because it was late.
Yeah, it was late, and I think they maybe saw a chance where they can make an upgrade, and they're going for it.
Yeah.
How many combines you been to now, AP?
Just one last year.
Can I interrupt?
What?
No.
I got
Unless
news
it's from the Skunk
Josina.
guy.
I'm now told that Brown's Bill Willis Diversity Coaching Fellow Israel Woolfolk has been informed he can join the Arizona Cardinals staff per league source. Woolfolk currently expected to be named the Cardinals QB coach.
Yeah, well, he just waved bye to us and thanked us and said it was great knowing us. So, yeah, we can.
I didn't see that. There's a door in
Did
there.
Well, we didn't say it, but I mean, that literally happened a half hour
That's when we
ago.
were saying
said,
we couldn't
I mean,
say
we had him
anything.
in
Say it.
studio 2 weeks ago.
Correct.
Yeah.
We lamented the fact and said that
Gave
we had
us a
Petsy
salute.
in here a month ago. We gave a salute, goodbye, a nice wave.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things that. So
Kinda
in other
we
words,
kind of get like a
we can
you leaving?
confirm.
Huh? And
Now
he's
we
like,
can.
we can confirm.
It's good knowing you guys. Pleasure.
CBD
So
confirms.
that's good. That's right.
That's right.
Sorry. Giant
a little,
door in
miss
the
a lot.
way,
You
can't
have a
see
you
anything.
have a
You
wall.
have-
I
in the
heard
way.
the footsteps,
Yeah.
but I can't see anything.
No, it was over on this side, Gibby. To be honest, it was where you had vision. It was
Honestly,
through AP's head.
That would be, in order for you to get the scores on that, you always have to pay attention to the scores on this program.
Yeah.
But those scores you'd have to be paying, you'd have to take laser focus.
Well, we did. I mean, it came up.
I know, but I mean, you'd
There
have
were
to
crumbs.
laser focus.
There were crumbs that would
There's
have led you.
always crumbs that lead
Yeah,
you to
there-
where you need to
that's
be.
right.
But yeah.
Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah. So this is your second
This would
combine?
be my second combine,
How are
yeah.
you preparing this year different than last?
Well,
Manages time at Kilroy's better.
I was gonna say it's definitely spending more time. Well, not just at Kilroy's, St. Elmo's too. I would like to go. So last year at St. Elmo's, my first trip, I went by myself because this was after the whole Browns crew had already left. I had to stay one extra day for. I think it was. I wanted to stay for the specialist interview the next day, and went to St. Elmo's by myself.
Sat at the bar.
Sat at
I
the bar.
believe
It's a
Did
great
we make
move.
that
I did that last year
recommendation?
too.
Sat
Sat at the
The
bar.
night you left.
It was great. It was a great night, just like the rest of the other nights I had in Indy, and was just unaware of the ferocity of the St. Elmo's cocktail and
What?
how hard that was going to hit. So I took a massive bite out of
Almost
the
killed Bill
first
Bishop. I was
piece.
there.
I took a massive
witnessed
bite
it.
out of the first bite of
Agent
the
to the
jumbo
stars.
shrimp,
Yeah.
and I had the bartender was looking at me as she took it, unbeknownst that I didn't know that she was looking at me, and saw me instantly grab my beer and just take one big swig. And she said, "How was it?" And I was like, "It was."
The beer doesn't even help because it's in your head.
It doesn't,
It's
but that
inside
was
your
like
One of
brain.
the most remarkable.
Yeah.
It's one of the most remarkable
You can
marketing
remark it if
schemes.
you'd like.
One of the most remarkable marketing schemes of all time. It is just a shrimp cocktail with a lot of horseradish sauce.
That's right.
That's it. That's the list. And yet they sell 1 billion of them, because I don't know where it started or how it became a thing, or if they just said, we're going to make our horseradish
I bet one night
orange,
it happened and somebody was like, this is amazing.
because it's just really the shrimp are great. They're really big, giant shrimp.
Plump.
They're great, but like they're not that different than one that you pick up at Heinen's or wherever. Like it's all
No.
similar. So they're just big shrimp, but it's almost an orange color in the cocktail sauce.
That's
and
my house cocktail sauce now.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
great.
I buy it. They sell it at Heinen's. You can get it at any
Yeah.
local grocer, and it's delicious.
Yeah,
it's
it's
every
great.
bit as hot.
Well, I just took really as big of a bite as I probably could have taken. Huge mistake, and it just felt like gasoline was just coming out of my nose. Like it was.
I almost died. You guys were witnesses. That's fact.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that
like
was-
iocane powder, though. You can build up a resistance. Like now,
Yeah.
I could go in there and I could spoon the whole thing.
So we
no
were
problem.
told
I
that
finished
we
the
had
cocktail,
we,
or
we,
the shrimp
we were
part of it,
told
but
that there was a combine one that's actually less, and then there's like the local one that's like that they have all the time for the locals or whatever. And I'm pretty sure didn't we say like I feel like you did this. You give us the regular.
What I do?
I know I'm not blaming you. I'm sure I wanted it too.
Yeah, we all wanted it.
But I think that, and so I took a big glob, and it about got me.
You weren't speaking. You were.
No.
You
And it
went
hurts
mute.
behind-
No, it comes in the back of your
In the
head.
back of your
You
head.
can smell the inside of your cranium.
Yeah.
It smells like
it hurts.
horseradish.
That's must have been what I
Hurts.
was
It
smelling,
hurts.
because
Yeah.
I just remember feeling it in my nose.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't eat stuff. You don't eat.
It'll
stuff that
clean
feels
those sinuses right on out, baby.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm always curious what Indy is like. I've said this many times. I'm only ever there for big events.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, if you show
Just
up
normal.
today, what's it like in downtown? Is it a ghost town? Are there people there? I have no idea.
It's a great question.
You know, you see the craziest damn things there.
Yeah, you do.
Combine week.
I enjoy Elmos.
Gibby, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love the combine?
11.
I know you love it so much. There's nothing you love more.
Yeah.
If it were up to you, you'd be there for a month.
Yep.
We'll never forget
Loves
first
it so
time
much.
He just loves
Gibby
the lurk.
took me to Kilroy's last year.
Loves his people.
Great time.
Yeah. All the spots.
Yep.
Yeah, is it
all the
Gurr got in on the
spots.
Kilroy's action?
Yeah, that was a fun night.
I've
There you go.
I've talked major trash to Mike Tomlin in Kilroy's.
Yeah.
I've been on Jerry's bus outside of Steak and Shake It.
Yeah.
I don't say
I've
with
always-
a former Browns quarterback
I
at
always
2
get
in the morning.
excited when I see that bus
Ugh.
just parked alongside the
It's so great.
hotel there. It's so exciting. All right, Higher Lower presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, who reminds you set your time and spending limits when gambling. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, boys.
Hey, man.
Ranking the 6 drills we'll see at this year's NFL Scouting Combine. So I'm not actually asking you higher or lower. I'm asking you to rank
The ones that I'm interested in, or the ones that are most relevant?
most relevant, I'd like to say.
It's like most important, most relevant. Obviously, it depends on position, but
As you get ready
can-
for the Underwear Olympics, what are the most important drills you're looking for in this?
I don't see on here tape. Number one, their tape.
I would agree with that.
All right. So let's go number two.
Number 2.
Number two.
Number 2.
So I'm just going to do this what I think is fun. And the most fun is the bench. So we're set up near the
Wait.
bench.
so
And so you can see it. So
Most
like
important?
we had no, I'm saying I'm doing it how I want. I'm
Okay.
doing most fun.
okay.
You could
I-
do
I-
your
do
you could
whatever
do
you
your
want.
number
Okay,
2
okay.
next.
It's your world.
Okay,
I would
go
do
ahead.
bench press is the most fun. We were set up adjacent to it, and we saw DK Metcalf do 106 or whatever, and it was like this feels like that's a lot. So that and people get excited about the bench.
Well,
so I like
you
the
remember
bench.
the Buckeye that tore his bicep?
Was
there
it Billy
one of them.
Price?
I think it was Billy Price.
It was Billy Price. Like
still
he
went-
was the very first guy to do the bench.
and he
that
still
year.
went
Like
first round.
First round.
To Cincy. Has never
Never.
really been what he was at Ohio State.
no.
I like the bench because we're closest to it.
Poise out.
Obviously,
What do
the
you like
40
at
makes the
number
most
2?
sense.
40
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we're not there for that. You got to watch it on
You watch
TV.
it on TV.
No, I agree with Bo. If you're talking most fun, it's definitely the bench. However, when I got the list or information of what we were going to be talking about, it was phrased as most important.
There you go.
So to me, bench is like out of the 6 that we had
Would be
here,
6th.
it was 6 for sure. But if we're going off the fun value that Bo had, then I think you got to put the 40-yard dash next. Obviously, not far from the entertaining value as the bench press, but because you're just seeing a bunch of guys running.
But
and
what
there's
is
no
the most
people cheering.
important to you at number 2?
Most important is 40-yard. That's number 1 on my list of most.
Even
important.
without pads.
Yes, because guys can still elevate their stock with a good 40 time at most positions. I think it applies to a lot of positions: wide receiver, cornerback, linebackers. I mean, every position
Many
really.
times
But
to a
line.
fault.
What's that?
Sometimes to a fault.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes you overvalue somebody.
Exactly. I'm not saying it's it's far from the perfect scale. We're just talking about the drills that we have that we get to see on the combine. So,
Zagura, what would be your number 2?
Probably the vertical or the broad jump, because those are things we can all relate to, and it ties into the explosiveness and things like this. We saw DK Metcalf do that jumping thing,
Right.
and I was like, yeah, he's probably gonna do pretty well in the Celebrity All-Star game.
Well, this is the problem with this is we mentioned DK twice. So it was the cone drill. Remember, people were
He couldn't do the
putting
cone
his
drill.
cone drill with
Yeah.
Tom Brady's
Mhm.
and saying they were putting him, they superimposed him, and it was like, he's slower than Tom Brady in the cone drill. So he fell to the second round.
Yep.
It was like, well, wait a second.
Right. Doesn't make.
What
any
are we
sense.
doing?
I
Like,
think every
this is
drill
stupid.
has a major outlier of somebody who either did terrible in it and ended up being amazing, or somebody who, blew the tires off and ended up being terrible. So, never forget Orlando Brown at the 40-yard dash. I know we were not talking line, but ran a terrible 40-yard dash, fell to the Ravens in I think the second or third round or something, and
Wait, what does it have to do with being an offensive lineman?
Exactly. But that 40-yard dash, he was supposed to be a first-round pick, and that 40-yard dash is what bumped him
I
in the
think
second. It made no sense. But
The combine is. There's parts of it that are cool. There are parts of it that are absurd. The hyperbole that needs to be given to every prospect is crazy. I mean, if you remember at the combine last year, like, who's trading up to get Malik Willis? The guy got drafted
yeah.
in the 3rd round.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
In the
we
third
had it
round.
this week. You had somebody comparing Bryce Young to Patrick Mahomes.
Steph Curry. Now he's Steph
Stop.
Curry.
Stop.
Steph Curry plays basketball.
Stop.
I remember last year, like Tyquan Thornton had like a blazingly fast, like best 40-yard dash, and like
I believe he scored against us.
He did. That was probably the one good play he had all last year. But yeah, he did.
Gibbe like that. He did like that. Yeah. That was like for me teetering on the dark side of Gibbe right there. He loved it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Loved it, yeah.
Yeah, it was when we made I don't even remember that guy's name. I said it was going to say Bryce Petty, but I know that's not his name. What was the name of the quarterback that absolutely looked like Joe Montana or Tom Brady from the Patriots that started against us?
Bailey Zappi?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
We made Bailey Zappi look like he was that was one of the greatest quarterback games ever. I mean, it was flawless.
And apparently in New
Stupefying.
England, they're saying there's not much difference between him and Mac Jones.
Well, based on what we saw, yeah, no.
Feels like
I'd
about
say
the same.
there's a big difference. He's good.
Yeah. All right, here's mine.
Mac Jones
Tape
not.
is 1, so then I would go bench press 2, 43, vertical 4, broad jump 5, 20 yards is 6, and 3-cone is 7.
I was say we never
Tape
even
is
see
1.
the 20-yard or the 3-cone. I don't even
I
feel
don't
like
even know
they
where
showed
those
that
are.
on TV.
I kind of had to like refresh my memory on how the 20-yard shuttle goes. Like,
Isn't it?
It's
It's 5, 5, or is it?
I think it's
5,
it's
10,
like
5.
10, 5.
You start in
5,
the middle, you go
10.
5, then you go the full 10, and then
I
back
don't,
5.
I don't know.
Two
See, like I
transitions.
forgot already.
Yeah. I think that's
You
right.
want the explosive is what you're saying,
Yeah.
is who's explosive.
Change of pace and stuff. Yeah.
Change of direction.
Yeah.
All right. Are they a slot receiver? Then I'm interested.
Yeah.
Are they nickel corner? Fine. Now I care.
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of the
It's mostly I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. It's mostly the interviews.
and
Yeah.
the medical.
Right.
That's
the
it.
medical.
Yeah, the medical and the interviews.
And
Tape.
finding out what everybody's going to do in free agency because camp
Yeah. Then
starts
the worst
Right.
kept
next week
secrets.
at the
That's what's fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are the things.
And
that-
Kilroy's.
Kyler, Daniel
And a
Jones. I hope that we come out of there with some. My goal for the combine is come out of there with like, okay, this is what the Bears are doing.
We had that with Kyler. We were there
Right.
10 minutes, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
they are not going to keep Josh Rosen.
No.
So that's my. I think we will.
That's when Steve Keim went to the podium dressed
Like Cliff
Kingsbury.
He was trying to
I'm
be
like,
cool.
Oh my goodness.
This
gracious
regime's
me.
At the
gonna last.
combine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Disaster.
It was
You don't need to
outrageous.
dress
He
up
was
like
like
that.
stuffed into a toy black T-shirt.
It was ridiculous.
He looked it just didn't fit his.
especially him
being-
juxtaposed to Cliff,
yeah.
in the same spot walking into places. Like this is not going to work. Good stuff, AP.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Tremendous.
So much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Reading about Elmo's.
Yes.
The starter options are fun over there. The navy bean soup, and then they have the red gold tomato juice as starter options. That's
Yep.
I always think that's fun. The cocktail, though, I don't know when it became a thing. And there's no real answer for when it became a thing over there. The first shrimp cocktail was like in the 50s in Vegas.
Yeah.
Was where it was like invented.
Okay.
But in terms of like
1 minute.
why it's a big deal in Indy or why it's a big deal at St. Elmo's, I don't know. They must. I just word of mouth. I don't know, but it says that they 48,000 pounds of shrimp a year.
Sometimes I wonder, how are there enough Brussels sprouts for everybody? How are there enough shrimps?
That's a lot of shrimps, buddy.
And that's one restaurant in Indy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Good question. Maybe we'll ask next week. Find the answers. Maybe we'll do that next week. No first round pick.
We'll just
track
get
it down.
answers to questions.
Answers to questions about Indianapolis cuisine.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm not afraid.
I know you're not. The next level's coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.